Good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. All right. Welcome to today's class. Today is the 5th day of the Linux Essential for Cloud and DevOps, Cloud DevOps and Cybersecurity Engineers. On our first day, second day, and third day, we've covered introduction to Linux. We've covered Linux basic command line, and we've also covered Linux user management yesterday. Today, we're going to be going to Linux file permissions. But after file permissions, we're going to be looking at Linux Linux. We're going to make a revision on Linux user management. Then we're going to cover Linux file permissions today. Then finally, we're going to look at Linux package management. Without further ado, let me share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, thank you. All right. Today we're going to start with. Before we start with file permission, let me take a quick summary about what we covered yesterday under users management. Yesterday under users management, we did learn how to create a new user, which is you can either use user hard or hard user. But yesterday we only focused on user hard. This gives you it will create the user, and it will also create a folder for the user in the /home directory. When you want to delete a user, use user delete. If you want to change or modify permission, modify a password for a user, you use passwd. That is, you use passwd. And if you want to switch to a new user, you do su to switch to a new user. And if you want to switch both the user and their user directory, you use su dash. But if you don't want to switch the user's directory, then you just do su. If you do su, that means you are going to be using the directory of the user that you switch from. So you should be careful when you want to switch a user and also switch their directory, you have to use su. You can create a new group by just doing group. That is sudo group. Then you specify the name of the group that you want to create. If you want to add the users to a group, you do user mod, which is user modify -a-g, or you can write both of these together as -ag. Then you specify the name of the group and you specify the name of the user that you want to add to the group. So these are what we covered yesterday. So today I will start with file permission. And I'm going straight to the terminal so that we can continue the hands-on. So my server is already running. So I'm just going to SSH into the server. Now I'm in my server. If you don't know how to SSH into the server, you may want to watch the first day. If you watch the video for the first day, you will see how to SSH into the server from there. All right, one of the command that we learned in the first class, either the first or the second, is how to create a file. So if you create a file, you do touch, then the name of the file. So let's say, for instance, we want to create a file called app.py, which is a extension for Python. If you do app.py, it's going to create that file for you. So if I do ls, you're going to see the file that I just created, which is called app.py. And if you want to remove this file, just do remove, then specify the name of the file. So I'm not removing the app.py that I have there. I'm removing the other file. So now I only have my app.py there alone. So if I clear my screen, and when I do ls, I'm going to see this file. But what I want to do now, to actually see the permissions on this file, if I want to know who actually created this file, all I just need to run is ll. ll is going to show me the full instruction about that permission. It's also going to show me who actually created the file. So if you look at this line of output, it shows me a lot of information there. And permit me to copy out this information out, and let me explain it better. So if I copy out this information, then go to my screen, I want to paste it here. Each of these information has what they mean. The first line here, this first information, this one, it means the file type. That means the type of the file that I'm viewing. You know, when I do ll, it shows me the type file, and the file name is this. This is the file name. But before we get to the file name, let's look at them one by one. This is the file type. If it is file, okay, before we do this, let's also create a folder so that we can have two things there. So to make a folder, do mkdir and the name of the folder. Let's call this one Python folder. Python folder. Then if we now do ll together, so let me copy both of them. And I'm going to put both of them here. So let's break this down. This first line, both of them, the first line for both of them is called the file type. It might either be the file or the folder, but it's actually called the type, whether it is file type or folder type. So I'm going to put the type there, the type of the file that it is. Then the second section here, the second section is from here to here, or from here to here. So this second category, if I call it category, is actually the permission. This is the permission that says or that gives a user the right either to be able to open the file or not. So if you want to modify permissions, if you want to create users permission, this is actually what you need. This is the file permissions. If you create a file and you want to give users or group or other people permissions to the file, this is what you are going to modify. This command here, I mean this online here, is what you are going to modify. The third one here specify the links in that file, the number of links in that file. While the fourth one specify the owner of the file. And this owner of the file is normally represented with U. Then we have others. I mean, we have group. That is the group that the owners belong. And this group is represented with G. Then we have the bytes and the dates. So this is the bytes, like the total number of bytes in how heavy or how the weight of the file. Then the remaining are dates and time. So we have specified the date that the file was created, and the time. If I move this back a little bit so that I have all of them in one space. So we have the date, which is October 6th. Then finally, we have the time, and then we have the file name. So these are the information that you see there. But if you want to make adjustment to the permissions of this file, you are going to be modifying this line. And now let's break up this line here. What does this mean? This RWR. What does it mean? I'm going to copy the first one. I'm going to put it below here. This first one is 3 in 1. You divide them into 3. The first 3 specify the permissions of the owner of the file, the current owners of the file. That is the permission that the current owner of the file has. Then the next 3 specify the permission that the group that owns the file, the group permissions. This one is owner's permission. Then we have the group permission. And finally, we have others permission. That is the permission that other people have on that file. So if you look at this, the first 3 letters specify the permissions that the owner has. The next one specifies the permission that the group has. Then the last one specifies the permission that the other people have on that file. And if you look at the file, who is the owners of this file? The owners of this file is EC2 user. And the group that it belongs to is also EC2 user. So then we have others that were not listed, others. So if you want to modify this, what this letter simply means, it means the first letter, any R that you see there, it means that whoever has that R can read, it means it is readable. That means this user can read this file. The file name is hub. So it means that the user, let me put the file name here. And let me drop this down a little bit. So it means that this user here the app file, the file is app. So it means that the user here can read this file, meaning that it can do like cat to read the file without needing any permission. Then it also means that the owner, which is the EC2 user, can write on the file, which means he can actually write on that file. If I open a file, I can do cat on that file without any issue. And I can also write on the file. But this last one is called executable permission. The first one is read, the second one is writable, and the last one, which is X, is called executable. That means the file is executable. And we have the last one, which is dash. It means nothing. That wherever there is dash means, it means that whoever has that dash cannot do that particular thing. So the owner, the first three letters supposed to be RWX, meaning that the owner can execute the file. But because it is dash that was written there, that means even the owner cannot even execute that file. That means it can run the file. But if you look at also if you look at the group, if I put it down a little bit for more understandable, okay, it's here. So if you look at the group 2 has the same permission that the owner of the group of the file has. While other people, they can read, but they cannot write. The second one is write, they can write, and they cannot execute. So they only have only have one permission. This one has 2 permission, and this one has 2 permission. So if you go back up, I put it down here in a more readable format. The first one is called read, and we can represent this read with 4. The next one is writable, and we can represent that writable with 2. And the last one, the second to the last one is executable, and we can represent that with 1. And if there is nothing, it is called empty. So if I go back to that file that I created, and let's go and see the file again, and let's see if we can change the file permission. So where does file permission comes in? Now look at this. The owner of this file, if I do LL again, the owner of this file is EC2 user. If I switch the user to Sam, remember yesterday we created Sam. But before I switch to Sam, let me see the passwd where we are currently. Now look at it. We are inside this place, and inside this home user, I'm inside this folder, which is the home directory of the EC2 user. Inside the home directory of the EC2 user, there is a file there. If I do LX, then put the home directory of the EC2 user, it's going to give me the 2 files. So there are this file, meaning that if you want to see this file, you have to come to the home directory of the EC2 user. Now let's switch out from this particular place. Let's switch out from this particular user. Let's switch to Sam. Then I'm going to do, because I need sudo permission to switch. Now I'll switch to Sam. So if I do pwd now, you can now see that the home directory has changed from EC2 user to Sam. So now, if I now try to view that file, the file that we created earlier, which is the app.py, if I try to view it as Sam, remember now, Sam is not the owner of the file, and is not in the group that owns the file. So Sam will need permission to view this file. So for Sam to be able to view that file, now let's see, if Sam do not put sudo, he cannot view that file. So let's try to view the file as Sam. Remember, the file is inside the home directory of EC2 user. So let's bring that one first. And to view a file, you use cat to view a file. So if you try to view a file, then you have to specify the name of the file. So the file that I want to view is inside the home directory of EC2 user, and the name of the file is called app.py. So if you try to view this file now, look at what it's telling us. Permission denied. Because the permission that this file has is readable. It said it is readable for other people, but Sam is not the owner, so he can't do anything. He needs sudo to be able to at least to even read it. He needs sudo. But here you can change that permission so that Sam will not need that kind of permission again. But before we change the permission, let's go back to the EC2 user. So I'm going to do sudo. You can sudo su to the to EC2 user, or you can just do exit. So it will exit back to EC2 user. Let me clear my screen. Now you can now see that when a user creates a file, other user cannot view it without permission. Now let's view the same file as EC2 user. So to view the same file as EC2 user, I'm just going to do cat, then the name of the file, or I can also do the full path, which is EC2 user dash apps. This one will work, or I can just do app. So look at it. I'm able to view the file because I'm not getting any error. But if I get error like file permission, that means I can't view the file. But because I'm not getting error, it just simply means there is nothing inside that file. He said there is nothing inside that file. So now, how do we change this file permission? To change the file permission, you need a command called change, is sh, change modify. You just specify change mode or change modify. And if you want to change modify, you have to specify what permission do you want to change. Before we do change modify, let's put the file permission again. Then let's do change modify. Currently, the permission for the owner is this. The permission for the group is this, and while the permission for other people is this. So now let's try to make all of the permission the same. So what that means is that we want to change the permission for other people. So to change the permission for other people, you can either use numeric method or use the alphabetical method. If you are using the alphabetical method, remember that I said the other people is represented with O. So you are going to be using the O for other people, which means you're going to do something like O plus then the kind of or the permission that you want to give that user. Each of the permission is written in R. You can either do R, W, or X. So currently, the other people do not have anything. They have empty. So if I want to change this, like I want to give them readable rights, that is, I'm going to do O plus W, which means readable. And I can also do two, like O plus W plus, because the other people do not have executable. They don't have executable and they don't have rights. So I can give them both of the two together at once. But I just want to give it right now. So if I do this and press enter, say permission change mode, I have to put sudo because no change mode operand. Sorry, let me clear this. Change modify sudo change mode WOR. Sorry, let me clear that. That is change mode. Let me try the user first. User plus. Let me add user plus. The user do not have. Okay, hold on 1 second. LL. Then let's do change modify. Change modify. I want to specify the user plus the user do not have executable, user plus X, Okay, sorry. The what was actually causing the error before was I didn't put the file name. So when you put change mode, which is O plus read, O plus W, which is read with the user, the other people already has R, so we don't need to give them R, but other people do not have write and they do not have execute. So we want to give them write, the permission to write into the file. So it's going to be change modification, which is change mode, O plus W, then specify the name of the file, which is app.py. App.py. So now you can see it doesn't give us any error. And if you check LL again, you can see that the W has been added to that user. You can see that W has been added to that user. And we can also do, let's do one more. Let's add the remaining R to the other user. If we do R, that means it's going to have, it's already have R. So let's do X. So it's going to be RWX now. So we are now giving the other people permission on everything. They can read the file, they can write to the file, and they can execute the file. So if we do this, can you guys still hear me? Okay, can you guys see now? Let me know if you guys can see it now. All right. So now change mode. So if you try to add X to the right, you can now say change modify O plus X. So now we are adding executable rights to other people. So now they will have read, write, and execute. So let's press enter and let's do LL. Then you're going to see that the other people, they now ask all of them. They have read, write, and execute. So let me clear the screen. So can we take all the rights out again? If I do LL, look at it currently. LL, you can do LL and look at it. If you want to take all the rights away from the other people again, we can do that with minus. So you can do change mode, then specify the type of the user. Is it the group? Is it other people, or is it the owner of the file? So we want to do other people, which is O minus. We want to remove something. We want to remove from their file permission. So we want to remove the write and the executable. Then from which file? From app.py. So when we do this and do LL, then you can see it has go back to the original way it was before we modify it. And you can also do for group and other people like that. So if you want to do for the owner, you can also do for owner. If you want to do for the owner, the owner letter is you. So we're going to do change mode. Let's first do LL to see what we have currently. So we're going to do change mode. Then now the owner of the file currently is EC2 user. So the owner is represented with you. So if you want, currently the owner too does not have executable rights. So if you want to add executable rights to the owner, we just do change mode u plus X, which is executable right the owner do not have. Then if we now put the name of the app, the name of the file, which is called app.py, then it's going to give us, let's do LL. You can now see the owner has all the full permission now. And you can also do multiple at the same time. You can do, let's do LL. Let me take this up a little bit. If you do LL, It's going to give us the file permission. So now look at this. We can do multiple together at the same time. We can do change mode. Just make sure that you put the command change mode, which is change modification. You want to do change mode, you can do user, you can do group, you can also do order. This is Ugo. Then plus whatever you want to add to it. We can do plus. Currently, let's give all of them executable rights. Then for the app, because the owner already has it before, it's not going to give the owner again. We just give the group, and it will also give the other people too. So let's do this. Then do LL. You can now see that it has give all of them executable rights. And we can remove executable rights from all of them, or we remove everything. Let's say we want to remove everything. We have the three of them listed. Then just do, we want to remove read, write, and execute for all of them. We want to remove from all of them. So none of them have permissions to that file. If I press enter, then do LL, you see, oh, sorry, I do add instead of minus. I have to do minus. If I want to remove, I do minus. If I want to add, I do plus. So if I do LL now, you can see everything is clear. So this is how to add, remove, or modify users, file permission. Also, if you don't want to use the alphabetical format like this, you can also use numeric number. And the numeric number is, let's say you want to add all of the permission back, you want to give all of them the full permission back, just do change mode. Then the full permission, remember that when we said the permission, the R is represented with 4, W is represented with 2, and X is represented with 1. So if you want to give read permission, it's going to be 2. So just look at 2, but you have to put the first in pairs. Is it the user, is it the group, or is it the order? We want to give it to the owner, which is the U. Now we want to give it to the owner, which is the U. So we're going to say the way you specify this is going to be 3 letters. It's going to be, if you want to give, for instance, let's want to give the owner every permission, all the permission. I want to give the owner all the permission. So if you want to give the owner read, write, and execute, you are going to add all of them together, making 7. Then you put 7 here. So if you do not want to give the group and the other people anything, you just want to give only the owner the full permission, then it's going to be 700. Then you specify the name of the file. So if I do this now and press LF, you see it has given the owner 421, which is 7. Read, write, and execute. If I want to give the group just the permissions to read alone, listen to this. If I want to give the group the permission to read alone, then it's going to be change mode. I have to still specify the owner. The owner has 7. Then the group, because I'm giving it permissions to read alone, the read is 4. So I'm going to give the group 4. Then I'm not giving the other people anything. It's going to be 0. So if I do, I have to specify the name of the file again. So if I do LL now, look at it. It actually gives the owner, the other group, just 4 out. Remember, the first 3 is for the owner of the file, which is the EC2 user. Then the next 3 is for the group, and the last 3 is for the order. So now let's say we want to give the other people executable rights. Remember, the executable rights is X, and it's going to be at the end here. So let's go and give the other people executable rights. We just need to change that also to 7. Remember, the owner still remain, the other group, the group still remain 4. But now we want to only give executable right to the last person, to the other people, which is 1. Executable is 1. So with this, we have 741. If you do ll, you're going to have executable. So this is 7, which is 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is 7. Then we have 4 plus 0 plus 0, that is 4. Then we have 0 plus 0 plus 1, that is 1. That is why we have 7, 4, 1. So this is how to change file permission using numeric number. You can also change the user of that file. You can change the user of that file, or you change the group of the file. Look at it. The owner of the file is EC2 user, and the group is EC2 user 2. First, let's create a file. Let's create a group. Remember, to create a group, you do sudo group add. Sudo group add. Then you specify the name of the group, which is, let's call this cloud engineer. Let's say we are creating a group for cloud engineer. So if I do, now I have my group. If I do tail, let's do sudo tail. Remember to see the file that all the groups belongs to. The file is in the /etc/group. We did that yesterday. So if I go to sudo tail etc/group, it's going to give me the last 10 line of the content of the group file, the last 10 line of the group file. So if I do this, look at this, it gave me the last 10 line, and the group that we just created is called cloud engineer and is here. So I want to add Sam, and I want to add EC2 user to this group. So I can just do sudo add, sudo, if I want to add a user to a group, it's going to be sudo user modify. Let me clear this screen so that I go up. Sudo user modify. Then you specify append to group. Then the group name. The group name now is cloud engineer. Make sure you spell the group correctly. Then the person that I want to add to the group, I'm going to add Sam to the group, and I also want to add EC2 user to the group. So I have both of them in the group. So if I do ID now, I can see if EC2 user is member of that group. So if I do ID, it's going to tell me if EC2 user is member of that group, and you can see EC2 user. Okay, it's not going to add EC2 user there. Remember that yesterday. We have that issue yesterday. So let me see Sam. ID Sam. So you can see it has added Sam to the EC2. It's added Sam to the cloud engineer. So now let's clear this screen and let's do ll. So currently the owner of this file is EC2 user. So let's change the owner to Sam. And to do that, just do change sh, which is change owner. You change owner. Sh, change owner. Who do we want to change the owner to? We want to change the owner to Sam. And what file do we want to change the owner? We want to change the app file. So because this is a privileged command, we have to put sudo. Then now, if you do ll, look at it, the owner has changed to Sam. So now Sam can run this file without any permission. Sam can run this file without permission. Also, we can change the group. To change the group, it's going to be the same thing, except you are going to change owner to change group, and then specify the group that you want to change it to. So the group that I want to change the file to is called the cloud engineer, and then you specify the file name, which is called app.py. So if I press enter, then do ll, look at it, we have changed the group, and we have changed the file name, the file owner, and we are also changed the file group. So now this is how to change both the file owner and the file group. And if you don't want to do it 2 times, you can also do it at on a single command. Look at it. When you want to change the owner, we use change owner, and we specify the owner, which is the user, Sam. Then we specify when we want to change group, we change that to change group. You can change that to change group. Change owner, change group. You see, we change that to change group. But guess what? We can do the same thing at once. Just to, let's see, currently you can see that the owner is Sam and the group is cloud engineer. If you want to change this back, you can do sudo sudo. Now we are changing, change owner, Sam, just put column, then the group, column the group, which is called EC2, which is called cloud engineer. Then specify the name of that file, app.py. Then if I press enter, so it's not going to change any much because we are just changing from the same person back to the same person. But now let's change it back to EC2 user. Let's say we want to change the owner to EC2 user, and we also want to change the group back to EC2 user. Don't forget the column. Then we press enter. So now we are changing sudo change owner. We are changing the owner of the, we are changing the current owner of the file, and we are changing the current owner of the, the group owner, the group of the file. So if I press enter now, then do LL, you're going to see it change back to EC2 user. Either file or folder, the same process is what we're going to do. Either you are doing for file or you are doing for folder, it's going to be the same thing. So this is how to change file and folders. You change the file permissions and you change the owners or the group that owns the file. Now, let's move to the next one, which is called the package management. Under the package management, we're going to look at how to update a package, how to install a package, how to remove a package, and how to check a package information, and also how to see the repository of the machine, or how to see the repository, or list the repository. Now, if you want to check if you sign in, if you spin up a server, and the first thing that you're going to do when you spin up a new server is to actually update the dependency or the libraries or the package or the software that is running on that server. And to do this, it depends on the kind of the operating system that you are using. If you are using the Red Hat family, you're going to be using something like GNOME or DFN. DFN is like an update to GNOME. Whatever you run in GNOME will likely also run in DFN. DNF. Then if you are using the Debian family, which Ubuntu belongs to, you're going to be using APT. But because this server that I'm using is Amazon Linux, so I'm going to be using GNOME. And if you want to check, if you are not sure of the server that you are using, you can run a command really quick, like you have to do sudo to check the information of that operating system that you are using. You can the information is in a folder called OS release, operating system release. And that file, operating system release file, is inside the etc folder. So you can use cat to view the content of that folder. So it's going to tell you the kind of, you see the name is, I'm using Amazon Linux, and the version is version 2, and the ID is AMZN, and they say ID like, that means this ID is like CentOS, the Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and the Fedora. So those are the Red Hat family. So now I can run yum on my server without any problem. So the first thing you want to do if you spin up a new server is to do sudo yum update, is to run updates. If there is any update, it's going to update the current dependency. So because you don't want to be running on the old software, or if there is a new update, you want to make sure that you are using the new updates. If there's a new update, you want to make sure that you are using the new update. So I'm going to wait for this system to fully run. It's asking me that, is this okay for it to download all the 72 packages? I'm going to say yes with just Y, and it's going to download, it's going to update all of them. Now it has updated 72 megabytes for me. So now that this has uploaded, I'm going to wait for it to complete. Then the next thing is, I actually want to see all this package that it is updating. Where are the package coming from? Where are these package coming from? There are repositories on your system, on your every operating system. I mean, every OS, they have like a repository, like a file management. So if you do your repo list, it's going to give you all the repository that you currently have on this system. It's going to give us the repository that is currently on this system. It's kind of slow, but I'm going to wait for it. So these are the repositories that they have some package. The package that they use, or some of them has been, some of the package has been used to configure the system, while some of them are just downloaded. So all these different packages, all these different repository, they have package managers. So the yum that I ran, I mean the yum update that I ran the other time, is updating the packages that are stored inside this repository. So if you are installing any package, it's actually bringing that package from, it's actually taking them from either of these. You can see this is the repository ID, and this is the name for the repository. You say this is Amazon Linux 2 core repository. So any package that Amazon Linux 2 actually use to build their system, or the package that they use, they make available for you to configure the system, you can actually find them here. Then we have the Amazon Extra repository for Docker, which is for the Docker. Then we have the another one for container. This container, another one for kernel. This for kernel is normally used for, like, if you want to run something like security bash or for vulnerability package. If AWS release security updates or vulnerability updates, you are going to most usually see it inside this kernel. So, excuse me. So the total number of the software or packages inside all of this repository is 33,000 plus. So now, if I clear this, if I want to install any of the package inside that, I don't want to list it because it's going to list out all the 33,000 plus for me. You can do yum repo list -v. It's going to list all of them, but I'm not going to list all of them because it's going to take some time. So what if I want to start installing a package from there? For instance, I can do something like if I want to know, if I want to install a package from those repository, let's pick for one of the package in that repository. I can do something like cowsave. like Nyom cow say Nyom install cow cell. So I'm install an application or a package called cowsay. So it's going to install this package for me. It said it should be root, because before you can install those packages, you need permission. It should be root. But if I don't want to use root to install it, I'm going to use sudo. The reason why I've not been using root is because if you work in except if you are on like a system admin, you're not going to be getting access to the root. So it's better you get used to what they will give you. In most of the cases, they give you sudo, but it's not every time you get access to sudo. So now I have the cat says. So I can now run the command like cow say hello everyone. Cow says hello. So it's just a very like a very basic command that you draw a cow and the cow will say hey, whatever you pass to it, cow say hello, something like that. So how do you remove a package? How do you remove a package? So let me say I want to remove this cow says. I can say sudo yum remove cow say. So it's going to ask me then, now it has removed the cow says. So to downloading or installing is what you refer to as your package management. You can update a package, you can install a package, you can remove a package, but most of the time you are not going to be running cow says. You are going to be running real life application. Like for instance, let's say we want to deploy a web server on our EC2 instance. So the first thing you need to do is to install web application. Is to install web application. So let's install a web application. I'm going to do sudo yum install. So for instance, now let me first show you something. Remember yesterday we see some file. If I go to my list var, you can see there is no package called www here. So meaning that I can't use this server currently as it is for a web application server, as a web application server, because it doesn't have web application. So I need to download web application on this server. So for me to download, after I download the web application on this server, I should have something like this www on my in this place here. So now let's go and download that. I'm going to say sudo yum install. So the web server I want to use is httpd. Then I can add -y there to automate the confirmation, because if I don't add the -y, when it gets to some stage, it's going to ask me for confirmation. But if I don't want it to ask me that confirmation, I can add it in advance. So I just say, okay, I'm giving you that confirmations to go ahead. So now you can see it has actually added, it has actually finished downloading. So let me clear my screen and go back to the ls/var. So now you can see that we have the www has been downloaded. If you go inside the www, like ls/var/www, is going to see an HTML. Let's go inside the HTML. Just append HTML to this. So you can see that there's nothing inside it, because it's giving us an empty, it's giving us the results back without showing anything. So there's nothing inside that. So what we need to do now is that we are going to our developer. You are not a developer, so but if you are a developer, you will develop your application and you will upload all the files for your application. You will upload them in this directory. But before we upload our applications to this directory, let's go to the front end and see our let's go to the front end and see the website. If you want to see the website, just copy the IP address of your server for now. Just paste it in the browser. It's going to show you if there is a website running or not on that server. So currently you can see that it's just spinning, there is nothing coming up. So let's review this. What is actually happening? That it's just spinning and nothing is coming up. First, if you download any package or you install any package, you need to check the status of that package and see whether the package is running or not. It's just like if you download a software on your system, if the software do not automatically run by itself, then you need to go and run it. So the same way with Linux operating system, when you download a package, if the package is not running, then you need to go and run it. So how do you check if the package is running? Then that brings us to what is called service management. So we can run a command called sudo systemctl status, then the name of the file, the name of the application, httpd. So this is just to check whether our application is running or not. And if you can see, it says it's inactive, it's dead. So that means it's not running. So we can't use it like that. And that is one of the reasons why our website is not running. So if you want to start this one, if you want to start it, we just need to do the same thing, but just change this status to start. Then when you change the status to start, which is sudo systemctl start httpd, then it doesn't give us any error, but let's go back and do check again. Let's go and do status, run status again. You're going to see now it is active now and it is running. So now that it is active and running, excuse me, now that it is active and running, what we need to do, if you go back to our website and press enter, it's still loading, nothing is showing. That means the website is not, actually, we've not downloaded website, but we downloaded web server. So what we just need to do, or what we are trying to do, is just to see if the web server actually have something, actually have a demo application that is running there. So I'm checking my EC2 instance. Let me check this EC2 instance. This is the server that we are using. So I copy this IP, paste it here, and nothing is happening. So there might be a lot of, this is an example of the kind of issue that you might get at work, that you spin up a server and is not responding. There might be a lot of things that is happening here. It might be, maybe there is a particular firewall that is blocking it. So if you go to our system, let's go and see, we have a firewall, which is security. This is not AWS class, but if you can see that the security group does not allow HTTP. So we need to enable the HTTP before we can access our server from the internet HTTP. So I just need to modify this, I just need to modify the firewall and add port 80 to it. In real life, don't use port 80, you have to use port HTTPS, which is port 443. But port 80 is good for the trading. So if I go back here now and press enter, then you see it's showing us a test page, meaning that it's actually working now. So let's go and deploy our application here. I'm not going to start writing a web HTML. I will just go to a free site called free-css.com. Here you can get a template, a website template there that you can quickly use, modify it to your own. But what I just need here is I just need a template that I can just deploy. So I'm going to use this template, and I'm just going to, I don't need to download it. You can click on it. This is a free one. I don't need to download it. I just need to copy the link and address, copy the link address and paste it in my folder. Paste it in my folder, this which is clear. Then if I go to the ls/var/www/html, this is where I want to put that file. So all I just need to do, I just need to download it with widget. And once it download with widget, so if I do ls now, I've downloaded it. This is the file. I just need to unzip it. Unzip. I can actually want this file in my var directory. So I can move this file here. I want to move it to my var directory. I'm going to say move I want to move this file to my /var/ www-html. So when I move it here, I'm going to use sudo. So when I move it here, then I can go and cd inside that directory to unzip the file. So if I do ls, you can see the file here. And now I'm in my HTML. So I can unzip this file inside this directory. So to unzip, just do unzip the name of the file. So it's going to, I need sudo to be able to unzip. Now it has unzipped the file. If I clear my screen and do ls, you can see that it unzipped it inside a folder, but I don't actually need it inside a folder. I need it directly inside here. All the files inside this folder, I need them directly inside here. Because if I want to view my website now, I have to do the website /this, and I don't want to do that. So all I just need to do now is to move everything inside the HTML folder, inside this one, is to move them to this current working directory, which is inside this place here. And to do that, just do mv sbs-html dots. So before you put those, put asterisk so that you can move everything inside that folder to your current working directory. So here, okay, I need to also put sudo. And now, if I clear my screen and I do ls, you can see that it has actually moved all of them. We have about us, we have contacts, we have SSS, we have all the folders. So this is all we need to do. If you go now and go and see the website, just refresh and you're going to see our website deployed. So give it some time, it's loading, but it's going to come up. Now you can see the website is just a little bit slow, but you can see we actually deploy the website on our server. So this is what is called package management. You manage your package. You also run some service management when you run. You start a server, and also if you look at our instance, our server is using this gibberish name. Yeah, we don't want to use this gibberish name. You might purposely want to name this server to a specific name, and to do that, just do sudo hostname ctl set hostname, then specify the hostname you want to use. I might call this one web server, and that is all. So when I change the name, I've changed the name here, but it will not change automatically. You need to restart the bash. Just write bash and press enter. Now I've changed the server to web server. So this is all I have for you guys today. On today, we covered the file permissions and we also cover package management. Then we take some look at service management. So let's meet also on Monday when we start on networking management and introduction to bash scripting. Then on our final day, we're going to go deeply into bash scripting, where we're going to be looking at SED, we're going to be looking at TEE, and we're going to be looking at something like COTS. All right, thank you guys. If you have a question, you can post it in the chat.